वहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
अग्रे वह्निः पृष्ठे भानुः रात्रौ जुगुकसमर्पितजानुः करतलभिक्षस्तरुतलवासः तदपि न मुञ्चत्याशापाशः कुरुते गङ्गासागरगमनं व्रतपरिपालनमथवा दानम् ज्ञानविहीनः सर्वमतेन मुक्तिं न भजति जन्मशतेन सुरमन्दिरतरुमूलनिवासः शय्याभूतलमजिनं वासः सर्वपरिग्रहभोगत्यागः कस्य सुखं न करोति विरागः योगरतो वा भोगरतो वा सङ्गरतो वा सङ्गविहीनः यस्य ब्रह्मणि रमते चित्तं नन्दति नन्दति नन्दत्येव। भगवद्गीता किञ्चिदधीता गङ्गाजललवकणिका पीता सकृदपि येन मुरारिसमर्चा क्रियते तस्य यमेन न चर्चा। पुनरपि जननं पुनरपि मरणं पुनरपि जननी जठरे शयनम् इह संसारे बहुदुस्तारे कृपया पारे पाहि मुरारे। रथ्याचर्पटविरचितग्रन्थः पुण्या पुण्यविवर्जितपन्थः योगी योगनियोजितचित्तो रमते बालोन्मत्तवदेव। कस्त्वं कोऽहं कुतायातः कामे जननी को मे तातः इति परिभावय सर्वमसारम् विश्वं त्यक्त्वा स्वप्नविचारम्। त्वयि मयि चान्यत्रैको विष्णुः व्यर्थं कुप्यसि मय्यसहिष्णुः। भवसमचित्तः सर्वत्र त्वं वाञ्छस्य चिराद्यदि विष्णु त्वम्। शत्रौ मित्रे पुत्रे बन्धौ मा कुरु यत्नं विग्रहसन्धौ। सर्वस्मिन्नपि पश्यात्मानं सर्वत्रोत्सृज भेदाज्ञानम्।
One proceeds where Ganges meets ocean, strictly observes vows, or is charitable. 100 lives thus, bereft of knowledge, is no way to liberation by all beliefs. So we were saying in the last class that verse 17 talks about people who are definitely much better off than those who are described in the last two verses. They are honest people, they are God loving people, they are into the activities which are prescribed in the Shastras, and they observe it very diligently. Here, couple of samples are given, but it can be taken as symbolic of all the right type of activities that is prescribed. In the 18th chapter, Lord Krishna talks about Yajna, Daana, and Tapa karma. So this can be indicative of that also. So people do charity, which is what we concluded in the last class. People observe vows. This can be equated to tapas. Tapas is basically how we are able to conserve our energy by not allowing it to go into the unproductive channels, and we are able to direct it to higher. So the moment vrata or this tapas comes into mind, we have a picture of somebody going through physical trouble. Yes, it does involve some amount of physical restraint or physical trouble, but the main aim of tapas is that because of which you are able to direct your energies towards higher. That is the essential aspect of tapas. Even as people take up vrata for 45 days to go to Shabarimala, it is a form of tapas. Now, can we not pray God by doing whatever we are doing now? We can. There is no harm in it. But when you undertake a vrata or tapas, the extreme self-restricted imposition of discipline upon us makes us conducive towards the higher aspects of the worship. That is the intended meaning of tapas. Tapas is not merely standing upside down or hanging, upside down. It is symbolic of it. Even asuras and other people in the Puranas, we see that they did tapas. It only shows that there is a concerted energy towards a particular thing. When there is a concerted energy, there is an effect for it. So we do not eat food on Ekadashi day, or once a week we have also this fasting in academy. Some people do Mauna Vrata, because these are all areas of energy by which it gets dissipated. Speech is an important avenue for letting loose our energy. So at least voluntarily, if you are able to keep Maunam for once a week or once in 15 days, whatever be the time, you are consciously practicing, so that doesn't mean that all the thoughts are gurgling inside and you are writing and showing something. That is not the idea behind it. The idea is that you are consciously wanting to direct your thoughts somewhere else at that point of time, for which you deliberately say, I will not speak for 6 hours or whatever it is. That is Mauna Vrata. So like this, various vratas are there prescribed in the name of spiritual practices. They do observe it diligently, they do it. The problem arises when we start doing this mechanically without knowing the meaning behind it, without understanding the spirit behind it. Some people observe vratas to such extremities that they don't even have the basic contacts of life, which is not right. Suppose 7 days you keep 7 vratas and don't eat anything at all, then it will all come out as either weakness or frustration in some other form. That is not what is recommended. Whatever is generally prescribed with the synchronization of physical, mental and spiritual well-being, whatever, then that is proper vrata. And then he says people proceed where Ganga meets ocean, pilgrimage. It's a very, very important aspect of every Indian's life, going to pilgrimage. Here Ganga Sagar is given. It can be taken as any pilgrimage or any aspect of worship. We go to Kashi, you go to Rameshwaram, you go to Dwaraka, go to Badrinath, Puri, various places, whether it is temples, whether it is holy rivers or other forms of water bodies or ocean, wherever you go, Himalayas you go, everything is pilgrimage. Here he has taken the sample of where Ganga Sagar, not very far from here. What is the significance of this? Significance of this is that wherever river meets the ocean, it is taken to be symbolic of where individual meets the totality. River represents every individual. It has particular characteristics. Ganga has, let us say, particular color, particular taste, particular characteristic, quality. Similarly, Yamuna, similarly, Narmada, or various other rivers that we have, Godavari and Krishna. But once they all merge into the same ocean, they lose their individuality but instantly gain totality. After the water enters the ocean, there is no separate entity called Ganga water or Yamuna water or Brahmaputra water. It is all one and the same. It is one and the same, but it is infinite. Ocean is representative of an infinite entity. A river is representative of the individual entity. So, river meeting the ocean is symbolic of the human being's progress from individuality to totality, reminding us of our purpose in life. All the activities that we do in life, all the spiritual intentions that we have in life and take up the spiritual activities or religious activities, it must all be directed towards self-realization or God realization. That is the essential purpose sanctioned for us. So when a person goes on a pilgrimage and visits a deity in a temple, or when he takes a dip in Ganga or Ganga Sagar, the whole thought associated with it must be that this is taking me one step towards self-realization. And this is a very clear indication, not only just because of the mahat of the practice that has happened here, there for many, many years. Of course, that has a value. But the symbolism and meaning and awareness behind this makes us do it with proper shraddha or bhavana. Otherwise, for the sake of doing it, either you don't want to offend your family members that you do, or everybody does and you want to do out of peer pressure, or it is a mechanically set in motion that everybody in the society or family does that you are doing, it may not give the full intended effect that it is supposed to. If we are able to do it with awareness, then we are able to get the full benefit out of it. What this verse says is, if those who do these practices mechanically, they are not going anywhere near salvation. What they maximum get is called as punya. Punya is the merits that you accrue because of the right type of actions that you do. Your mind will be calm to that extent even in this world. And based on the punya karma, you are eligible for other forms of enjoyment in the heaven maybe. After that, what happens is that you will come back again here and you are supposed to go through the mechanical activities that wherever you left from. So, it is definitely a better way of life than what it is described in the previous two verses, where a person completely indulges in the senses and has no ounce of spirituality, or a person completely withdraws himself from all the sensual contacts, but he does not know what to do and he is frustrated in life. In between these two extremes, if you are able to do certain things like this, it is obviously little better. But this does not guarantee whatever is the highest intended effect of all these practices. Of course, self-realization is not an effect on the basis of cause and effect of anything. That is why in this verse itself he says, Jnana vihina sarva matena. Sarva matena means by all forms of beliefs, by every school of thought. Every school of thought, probably whatever is there at that point of time, till this verse was written, Bhaja Govindam, whichever century it was written, that's what we should take here. Because even within Vedanta, even within Hinduism, there are various schools of thought. You have Nyaya, you have Vaisheshika, you have Purva Mimamsa, you have Bhakti, you have, even in Vedanta, you have Vishishta Advaita, Dvaita, various forms of schools of thoughts are there. All of them concur on one point, that the ultimate aim of the individual is to gain moksha or liberation or self-realization, and that comes through only jnanam. That comes only through awareness. Jnanam is not merely reading books here. Jnanam is that ultimate awakening to the reality. What is that awakening? That there can be a point of difference, but everybody concur that it is jnana. See, suppose you go to Vaikuntha and have that awareness of Lord Vishnu there, that is what is salvation. That is what is liberation. One set of people may say. Others may say you go to Saket Loka and be with Lord Rama, that is the ultimate awareness or jnanam that is due for an individual, after which there is no return. Some people who are following Shiva as the ultimate reality may talk about going to Shivaloka or Kailasha and say that is what it is. But here it is not going as in terms of moving from one place to another, which it may involve. But the essential aspect of it is that they are aware of the reality there. That awareness is jnanam. Advaita Vedanta says that awareness of supreme reality or Brahman is achievable by you here and now, while living here. Here means in this world, not going somewhere else. Now means not later, now. It is possible. By the process of going through the karma, bhakti, jnana yoga and culminating in meditation, finally what opens up by itself is self-realization. You can be a Jivan Mukta or a man while alive, you are liberated in this world, now it is possible. But what every school of thought concurs is that it is only Jnanam that can give you liberation. Verse 2 in Atma Bodha says, Pakasya vanniva jnanam vina moksho na siddhyati. For cooking, the direct cause is fire. Though we do 1,000 things before that which is required for cooking, you have to purchase the vegetables and rice or whatever it is, then you have to wash them, you have to cut them, you have to peel them. Various preparations are definitely necessary. But if you ask what is the direct cause for cooking, all these are not direct causes, these are all preparations. So what is the direct cause for cooking? It is fire. When you keep it on fire, that is what actually cooks. Exactly like that. All the karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, raja yoga, whatever yoga you all do, all this is actually preparing our mind to ultimately get into that state where the awareness absorbs itself into it. In fact, this Ganga Sagar is a very good example. I mean, if you extend that example, it conveys a point. For Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says, certain rivers we see very clearly where it ends and where the ocean, it is falling into it. Very small rivers. But in cases of rivers like Ganga, that itself goes through various distributaries and joins the ocean. As we go even in the boat towards Ganga Sagar, do we really know where is the boundary, where the river ends, where the ocean begins? We really do not know. Can we exactly taste the difference of the taste of the water between ocean and Ganga water? Where exactly, we really do not know. There is a beautiful merger there. So Paramahamsa says, as the river approaches the ocean, it has finished all its journey. It is now at the mouth of it. The ocean, what it does is that it comes over and absorbs the river into itself. It embraces the river as it were and swallows it as it were into itself, and the ocean alone remains. So all the sadhana that we do are all finite efforts producing finite results. But in the process of evolution, the desires get knocked off and we go higher and higher until we may go up to the last thought. At last thought, what really happens, we do not know. But it is the infinite self that absorbs the individual as it were into itself. So in other words, cause and effect ends when you reach the last thought, beyond which there is no cause. In other words, the efforts which are finite, the causes which are finite can produce only effects which are finite. But liberation is what we are talking about, an effect which is infinite. The state of yourself is infinite. Infinite result cannot be produced by something finite. What does the Upanishad say? Direct statement comes, I think, in Mundaka. Nirveda maya nastya krita kritena. So it is not possible that the unmanifest is made manifest to you by any effort. Meditation is the final effort, where after which your mind goes into single pointedness and it has to relax there. That's all. So what is beyond it all is the relaxation. That's about all. You cannot say that I'll try more and try more. It will not come. What happens is that it opens up. How and where we do not know. That is why Vedanta explains everything in the world in the perfect sequence of cause and effect from 0.001% to 99.999%. It will work perfectly. How did the first thought came and how did we become an individual? There is really no answer to it. That is why Jiva is also taken to be Anadi. Anadi means beginningless. And how the last thought goes off and where individual merges into totality, that is also unexplainable. But perfectly the science of cause and effect works within this limit. So, what is really going to give us liberation is the Jnanam. Therefore, we have to start keeping our awareness upon the Brahman right from now onwards. So does it mean that we should not do these practices? We should do. But do it not mechanically, do it with an idea or awareness that this is going to lead me to the self. So like in the Carnatic music or classical Hindustani music, they do have a tanpura at the back of the singer as a shruti to which the singer attunes himself and then sings various ragas, various songs based on various ragas to various talam or beats. Even as he is singing various songs there, one aspect of him is attuned to the shruti there. It doesn't leave him at all. And it is not a disturbance in his concentration. Rather, without it, he may not be able to sing. I'm talking about a trained singer. That's how they sing. That is very important. You may not even have accompanying instruments, but tanpura must be there. Or some shruti must be there. Now the shruti box electronically is there. That must be there. Exactly like that. After we have this knowledge or awareness, one aspect of our personality is attuned to this tanpura in the back of the mind that this is what is the purpose of life. With that awareness, if you do charity, dhanam, if you do yajna, if you do tapas, all this gains much more weightage. You know the purpose for which it is directed. Therefore, the effect of which is also going to accrue to you even more in a better way and in a faster way. So this verse is not to condemn the practices, but the verse is to caution us that do not get into these practices in a mechanical way. Then beyond a point, your awareness, your inspiration in it goes away. See, even particularly to children, when the fathers and mothers, they inculcate certain habits when they are young, which is good, which is to be done, because in a fresh age, these things will be absorbed. But when the time about when they come to 6, 7, 8, or later 10 years and all, they don't want to be bound by going to temples and doing rituals or puja and this and that. And so they wait till teenage and then they say goodbye. I mean, because before that, probably you have a control. After that, there's no control. They just go their own way. But at the time that when their questioning is invoked, if you are able to give them the proper meaning behind it and make them understand the science behind it, probably they will continue, or rather, even if they leave it at a later point in time in their life, they will have the inspiration to draw it out of their personality. So it is very important that these things are inculcated, and at a younger age, they may not understand, it doesn't matter. But at a time when they can question, it becomes the duty of those who are guiding the parents, teachers, whoever it is, to give them the meaning behind it so that the awareness becomes an aspect of life. Spirituality or religious practices is not one thing that we practice and rest of the things is allotted to our worldly activities. Office time is different. House time is different. Half an hour puja I do. That is not the way in which our rishis want our life to be molded. All the things that we do, whether it is office life, domestic life, social life, whatever we do, it must be spiritual. So that the way in which you approach even household duties or office duties must be made spiritual. Say let's say a person works in a organization, a company, a bank, or a factory, or anywhere for that matter. If this aspect of, we talked about charity in the last class, how he can be charitable towards his own clients, towards his own customers. It's an attitude. That's all. I'm not saying that take the bank's money and give to somebody. That is not charity. The attitude with which you will deal with them, that becomes a spiritual activity. How a lady even cooks food for others in the family, it can be done in the spirit of a yajna. How you entertain your guests, how you are able to even organize a Durga Puja or Pandal or anything that you do, everything can be made into a spiritual activity if it is dedicated to a higher cause. So that is what must be the import of the verse, not to be taken pessimistically that these things are condemned. No. Adi Shankaracharya is only trying to say that add a awareness element to your own activities. That's the point here. Secondly, remember always that the practices that we do, the Murti Puja and everything which is essential for us at this point of time, must ultimately lead to our absorption into the reality. So in other words, our aim must be to go beyond what is required for us as a symbolic image for our worship, for our sadhana, anything. See, even in meditation, when a person reaches that state I'm talking about, he may need to chant the mantra aloud first. He may need to open his eyes and focus on a murti first, or a picture, or a lamp, or something like that. All these are essential practices required in the beginning. But eventually, all this is to finally close his eyes and find the self within. The chanting must be inside then later on. The japa must go into whispers, into silence. But that's a hard practice. To reach to that, you have to do all those things. So, a child is going through certain phases of holding a, what do you call, that small walker type of a thing, only to walk. Eventually, it has to leave the walker and walk alone. Like that, we may need props and support. So again, you need not consciously leave the practice of going to Ganga Sagar or your vrata or your puja or whatever is inspirational for you, but focus on absorption of knowledge, where at one point of time, some point of time, they themselves will drop out of you naturally. Meaning you will not give up rituals. Rituals will give up you at some point of time. By trying to give up something we may not achieve, but they should drop automatically. That automatic dropping is called renunciation and going to a higher level of awareness. So that is the point that is here. One proceeds where Ganges meets ocean, strictly observes vows, or is charitable. 100 lives thus, bereft of knowledge, is no way to liberation by all beliefs. Yes, sir. Business.
Deliberately in the word. The basic tapas is something that you do without expectation of any tapas. Just for awakening or expression. However, in our pictures when we read, many instances are there where everyone is doing the tapas for the purpose of some return. Whether it's Vishwamitra or Arjuna or anybody, you can think of it, starting from Mahabali, everybody, are they not doing proper tapas?
See, the thing is, the highest form of tapas, I don't know if you remember, last year was 17th chapter. 3 types of tapas are given here. Okay. Tapas is, as I said, tapas is performed at the 3 avenues of the body. Body, speech, and the mind. In other words, when we give the definition of tapas about conserving our energy and directing it to a higher purpose, a concerted effort, then where all the energies dissipate through is all these 3 avenues. At the body level, we lose energy. At the speech level, we lose energy. At the thought level, we lose energy. I'm not going to the definition. So he's talking about what is the tapas at the body level, what is the tapas at the speech level, and what is the tapas at the mind level. Okay. Then he says, Shraddhaya paraya taptam tapastat tribidam naraihi apala kangshitam Kangshibir Yuktahi Satvikam Parichakshita. What is Satvik tapas is? With Shraddha, if a person is able to perform all these tapas without expecting any fruit in return, that is termed to be Satvik tapas. And that which is done out of dambam, Satkaramana Pujatam Tapo Dambena Chaivayat Kriyate Tadiha Proktam Rajasam Chalamadrum. That tapas where it is done with ostentation, etc., that is termed as Rajasic tapas. And the worst form is Muda Grahenatmano Yat Pidaya Kriyate Tapaha Paratsyot Sadhanartvam Va Tat Tamasa Udahritam. That which you do by torturing yourself, and there is no real purpose to it except to destroy others with all the negativities in mind, you do that forms the tamasic tapas. What is interesting is, according to the science of the mind, whenever you conserve energy and direct it towards the higher, the effects are going to happen for that. That is why probably nobody did tapas like Hiranyakashipu. Nobody did tapas like Ravana, and they had that effect. For that limited effort that they do, limited effect will come, but for them that limit is maybe thousands of years or lakhs of years. That amount of tapas they have done. All the asuras, you see that before they gain the power, they have done extreme tapas. Be it any Rakshasa, any asura, or even if devas want to gain power for that matter, you have to do tapas. That is why we say that even forget about all these, even in the modern uh, times, if you want to achieve something in life, concrete, your efforts must be concerted in that direction. Then only you substantially achieve something. You can be extremely intelligent in a field of activity, but you are not concerted in your efforts in that area, you may not be able to substantially achieve something. Rather, an average person who is not as intelligent as you, if he keeps on putting in the effort concertedly in that direction, not, let us say, getting deviated by watching TV and other entertainments that all go through, he will end up achieving something. Okay, so that is directly related to your efforts. A lady who wins, let us say, Miss India or Miss Universe title, 1 hour, 1 year or 2 years, whatever she goes through is a tapas in a way. What type of food she eats, what type of exercises she goes through, what type of language that you speak, and let's say you avoid alcohol, cigarette, whatever. If you have to do all those things, everything is forming part of the tapas. 1 minute. A person who just 1 minute. A person who goes through the same type of effort in cricket team, all that he has to go through to get into the team and finally sustain himself over a period of time, that is tapas. So each and every, what our soldiers go through in the Himalayas to do, if they are able to consciously do it for the sake of protecting the border there, that is a tapas. What a rishi goes through, that is also a tapas. Now, so what we see here is that wherever there's a concerted effort, that is there. The sankalpa or the intention before it, that is what it determines what is the nature in which the efforts are going to be directed towards. So, when a person is using all his efforts to destroy others in all a negative way, that forms under the tamasic category, yet it is called as tapas. In all the verses in chapter 17 and 18 where he is going to distinguish sattva from rajas and tamas, he is not encouraging us in any way to do the rajas and tamas. He is only differentiating to say that people may misunderstand these to be real tapas in some form or the other, which is not so. Sattvic tapas is the real tapas. Sattvic yajna is the real yajna. Sattvic dhanam is the real dhanam. But other two types are given to correct our misconception or misunderstanding. Now, as far as let's say a person who is able to conserve all the energies in the right direction in all the three avenues and direct it towards only the highest form, that will form the highest form of sattvic tapas. Now, all the other tapas that we do, it is not black and white. There are shades of gray also in between. Okay. So, let us say if Arjuna did a specific tapas to get a specific astra, or Vishwamitra was doing tapas only for the highest, nothing else. Yet, his tapas was disturbed. Once he lost his temper and he gave a sharp to Ramba. Next, he got tempted and Menaka. Then what happens? He lost the power. So the power that he lost, he has to regain again. That's why even when he created a Swarga for Trishanku, he used the power of his tapas to create. This is what is given. So once that power is gone, he has to again regain that power. Now, whatever you aim for and gain, that power is there with you. That power is there. This power is there because of the concerted effort that you are doing. But it is not that probably for this purpose he did. If a person does like that, he may fall into a Ravana category or something that I want to rule the universe. I want everybody to be subjugated. And depending on your effort, the effect will come for that also. But that will not classify under the sattvic tapas. It is just to do with certain fruits in mind in the world. So whatever is achievable in the world, that will come under rajasic category. A real tapas is where you are concerting your effort towards the highest thing. And in your normal day-to-day activities that you go through also, for a period of time that you can do tapas. See, we see that the same actor and actress in the peak of time, what would be the number of years? 5 years, 10 years that they are in the peak, they do have to maintain the body and other things in extreme tapas, after which they are doing it maybe not with real conviction as to why it is to be done and what is the purpose of maintaining the body. But if they have to maintain their market, they have to do it. Right? After which, after let us say some age, it happened to a great actress called Padmini. She was one of the greatest heroines of her times. How we knew is they used to stay sometimes in the hotel where which is known to relative of our Swamiji there. And she came into the field at a very young age, and she was a very talented dancer, various other facets she had. She was very successful in various languages. But the type of, let us say, see, they were given certain food and certain restrictions throughout their career, and they were young and they had to follow whoever was controlling them. I don't know. But they used to be extremely frustrated because they are not able to eat what they want to eat. Let us say, suppose, for example, if they want to drink some cool drinks or sweets, if they want to eat in excess, that is all restricted. It was like a forced tapas on them. But they were, the effect of it was seen. But once the acting career was over, she settled in America. She completely indulged whatever, meaning all the pent up frustration she had to let loose in a very big way. And she was a different figure later on, okay, in life. Now, but the point is, to the extent that you are able to do this even for a short period of time, that's why even within his lifetime, when Arjuna wanted a specific thing to be achieved, for that also you have to do that amount of tapas. Then the achievement is possible. So when you talk about tapas as a means even to achieve certain worldly goals, you need certain discipline, you need certain things. That discipline is called as tapas. That's all. One need not take the route of the tapas and then say go through it. But whether a businessman achieves whatever he wants to achieve in business, he gets up early, he's in the office at 7 o'clock, in and through he is concentrated only about how to get his business through clients and everything. That is one way of concerted effort. That's about all. I'm saying there's an element of tapas there in that sense. But real tapas is only for the highest, nothing else.
There is a connected word Udyama.
Connected word Udyama.
Udyama. So where does tapas end and where does Udyama start?
I really do not know where Udyama is used in any of Gita in a context or something. Udyama is mainly effort. Udyama is generally referring to any effort. Tapas means that the root of the word tapas is that heat. Tapman, you say, no, Hindi is come from this only. Tapas means heat. Heat means your body, when do you heat means your body is put through certain physical trouble. Why we should go through that trouble? See, in the winter time when they put the mala for Shabarimala Ayyappa temple, they have to take bath in cold water. They have to walk barefoot. They should not shave. Various things are given. It is a tough thing to do, particularly in the winter time. Panchagni tapas Arjuna did, he said. That means 4 sides Agni and 5th is the sun above. And in between he is standing and doing tapas in a summer time. Or in winter, Parvati does tapas in Himalayas. Okay, like that. Why it is given like that is, if we are putting the body through extreme comfort all the time, it is not conducive for our thought towards the higher. So if the body is put through this heat, as it were, that energy which is there directed by way of your concerted effort automatically is conducive to go towards the higher. That's about all. So tapas is a very specific spiritual term, you can say. Udyama may be a common term. It's effort, any general effort. You want to achieve anything, you can't merely have thought, you have to put into action. That is called as effort.
How does one counter tamasic tapas? Your adversary or your opposition, whatever you must say, is doing tamasic tapas.
Why sattvic tapas only?
What do you do? You can't do rajasic or sattvic tapas, you don't counter that.
Why? You are very, very underestimating the power of your own mind in the sattvic. 1 minute. Any negative energy that you generate, the effect that it has, probably 10 times or 100 times is one positive thought that you have. Okay. If you are able to do sattvic tapas, the key is tapas here. Okay. If you are able to concentrate your energy towards the higher, it will probably take care of a group of a gang of whatever negative energies are directed towards you. See, that is the power that it has. But you must believe in the power. But one thing you have to remember, just being good and I'm praying God and I'm going to temple and then rest of the time I'm doing whatever I'm doing, that is not going to happen. That is the reason you will find that why do corrupt people prosper and good and honest people suffer? You look at it from this angle. If a person has a very concentrated effort on making money at any cost, no problem with breaking any rules, no shyness or ego problem with reference to asking from others where he's not supposed to ask. Suppose if he doesn't have all these things, he is single-pointedly focused about somehow getting it. So what happens is energies are directed little more in that direction. He will get whatever he wants to get. But on the other hand, a person wants to be honest, but you also have the same value for money, but you will not put in that extra effort to apply yourself and in a way that it has to be done, etc., where it involves your thinking. You are not having the intensity to be good as intensive as he wants to be corrupt. You understand? So therefore he is able to put in so much effort, he is able to achieve. If you are able, so that is the difference between Krishna and other Pandavas. Krishna was also good, Pandavas were good, but Krishna was able to do it in a more aggressive way with whatever he had as the thought of Loka Sangraha. See, for example, if anything has to be done to your house, suppose if there's a drainage problem in your house or something is there, you will immediately do everything to clear it and make everything. If there is a waterlogging in the street, you will try to do it, maybe you'll call the corporation or you'll try, and then you will only step and carefully do it. The intensity with which we want to clear our house, that same intensity we will not show to clear the street. Why? What is there for me? It is not my thing. Anyway, that is the basic thought, right? I mean, that is the basic psychology. But I'm saying if you are able to create the same intensity for the society as you would have for yourself, you will find means and ways to do it. Exactly like that I'm saying, if you are able to dedicate some cause where you have a positive desire, if it is all that Vedanta asks you to is get that intensity that you will have for your own selfish desires, the same intensity you have for your unselfish thoughts. If that intensity comes, no force can stand in front of it. That's not possible. Only so, therefore, we suffer based on our weakness rather than other people's strength. It's only when you open up a little bit, you have to take all that you need to take is the first step or the second step. That's all it is. Others have no business or they don't have a locus standi to stand there. All the negative forces gain the energy by the weakness of the good people. That's how it works.
Is it easier to do active tapas for general good and doing good for yourself? Because the moment a person becomes...
You see, doing good for yourself and sattvic doesn't go together.
That's what I'm saying. So when we, like you said, doing active tapas for you're often getting a 95 one house rather than for the rain. That is the comparison I was trying to make.
Correct.
You can do that.
See, the point is, dedicate your entire life for others. That is the point. If that is the case, somebody who even comes and puts a spanner in the works of your business, you will know how to remove him, because again, the business is again not for you. It is in general scheme of things. Whatever you do is for the welfare of others. In that sense, it is taken. So, in other words, your whole life is oriented towards others. That is how it comes. So, therefore, that person is operating at a very high level in which his things are taken care of. So, there is no specific effort needed for that. That's the point. Yes, sir.
Sir, he's trying to frame the question regarding Vishwamitra. At first stage, he gets angry and he uses his power. At the second stage, can we say that he was afraid of losing his anger? That is why he, got tempted. That ego, because a lot of tapas over there has got lost because of anger, because there was a self-rightness thing, And so that is why, that fear, which is sort of ego, that has made him get tempted.
Actually, Kama, Krodha, they are two sides of the same coin. The energy gets frittered away by the mind. When the desire is unfulfilled, it is going into, or if desire is frustrated or it is not fulfilled, it goes into anger. That's about all. But what he is trying to show by this incident, in this life is that mind in any form can be tempted and the energy can go in any way, in any of the modifications of the mind. It could be vanity. He said if nobody is able to do, I will do it for you. He created this. So a good portion of tapas goes there. Or if you lose yourself in anger, there the energy goes away. Or if you lose yourself in desire, there it goes away. Or in jealousy, it goes away. Any avenue that the mind is there, there is enough scope of thing. It has nothing to do with his conscious decision. When the mind gets tempted, there is no reason there. There's no thinking there. Oh, I should not get angry. Let me desire here. It doesn't happen like that. It doesn't happen like that.
Trying to avoid something, then you slip somewhere else. If the ego is sort of.
See, the thing is that what happens is when the effort is all put by yourself, even at the higher stage, there is a chance that the mind may be tempted. This is the lesson that he is giving. And once the mind tempts and you are going down the path, then again to rise up to that level, you have to again do tapas and gain that effort. So by like gravitational pull, the losing of energy is easy and faster. But to gain that tapas is rather difficult. That's the point.
No, I'm trying to get to the point as to in either at such high level of tapas, he first gets angry and then he gets tempted. So that is related to basically some sort of a selfishness and ego at that level also.
What would have happened if Menaka was sent first and Ramba was sent second?
Maybe the same.
We really don't know. No, that is not the point of discussion here. It is that the mind is getting distracted by any form. So it's not that one by one you conquer like that. For some, see, all the asuras and our scriptures are also picturization of each one of negativity. Though they may have various negativities, they represent one in a big way. Duryodhana is a personification of jealousy. He also had anger, he also had various other things, but he is a personification of jealousy. Ravana was a personification of kama, desire. Hiranyakashipu was a personification of anger. Surapadma was a personification of ego. Like that, all this represents that only with the divinity within you can you conquer these negativities. So Rama conquered Ravana, or Narasimha conquered Hiranyakashipu, or Kartikeya conquered Surapadma. All these are stories just to say that the negativities in any form can be manifest. Ego can be manifest in any form like this. All those needs to be conquered. For certain people, it can be in any direction. In 16th chapter, that's why he says, three gateways to hell. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, he says. So any of these things is an open gate to hell. It's not that you are conquered two and only have this one. That is not going to be that. It's not that this is, for you, this may be the last. For somebody else, that may be the last. But the point is, the mind's energy can be dissipated in any of these negative channels. That is the point.
So then, in continuation to this, in the last stage, when he is taking Rama into the jungle, or he gives up, he calls request for his presence for fighting the asuras, where he has already gone to a higher level. There now the divinity, he is accepting divinity.
He is a Brahmajnani at that point of time. That is why he can take care of the asuras even at that point of time. He has the power. But nothing in the world will, he is doing what he is supposed to do at that point of time, and he is allowing Rama to do what he is supposed to do. That is the difference there.
So basically, he is accepting the divinity is having a role.
Not accepting. He is a Brahmajnani. He is a Jnani himself. He is only, that is the episode in Ramayana where he has to come at that point of time, a very important stage in Ramayana to make things happen to Rama and Sita. That is the phase there. And you cannot, at the last stage means after that, the Vishwamitra doesn't have life or what. He continues. Once a person is established in Brahman, he continues there forever as it is.
That means his fall towards the lower values, possible up to self-realization is there.
Not actually.
At any level.
Before that.
At any level it is possible.
Possible. That's what he is cautioning. It is not that really Vishwamitra fell. Please remember this. We are discussing here as episode, as though they have lent their names so that we talk very loosely about Vishwamitra, about Durvasa. They are all Bhagavan. They are all at that stage. They can take care of 1,000 Menakas and 1,000 Rambas. At that stage they are. But they are deliberately lending their names in these stories to make us understand what is the power of senses. To make us understand what is the power of the mind and its temptations. That's all it is. So, but according to the principle, till the point of realization, you are susceptible to fall. Chances are there. Here is a very interesting, since you have raised this, I am saying, there is one analysis for this. Again, it's a food for thought. I'm not saying I heard it somewhere, but it's an interesting thought. Whenever in spiritual path, if the path is secured as it were by Guru's grace, then the chances of falling is not there. Or rather, that grace will protect as it were. Vishwamitra did all by himself is the story that we know of. And it's a stalwart's effort. If anybody has to do all by himself, we can't even imagine how much of effort that he has put in. That is why it's probably, that is one angle to it. Second angle is, when a person, here I am not connecting to Vishwamitra or anything, in general I am saying, when a person is able to beat the mind into submission by hard effort of yoga, which is by your own effort, which is also a path. That's why in the 6th chapter of Gita, 7th chapter of Gita, there's all a distinct difference. That you say that whenever the mind goes here, you bring it back, you practice yama, niyama, pranayama, the Ashtanga yoga and all given. These are all probably not paths given for the masses or the totality. For all of us, karma, bhakti, jnana, this is the normal, right, royal paths given for us to understand the path through body, mind and intellect. But if you are maybe a special or exceptional case, and if you are able to follow that, well and good. You have to do it under the right guidance. That is also a path. Swami Vivekananda calls it as Raja Yoga. It's a royal path. That is also a path. But when you are going the path of yoga all by yourself, be very cautious and careful, because the susceptibility of fall is also there. Bharata Yogeshwara was a great rishi doing the tapas all by himself, and he was probably at the very highest level of evolution. At one point of time, he heard he saw a deer giving birth to a young one because of a roar of a tiger or a lion. It was, a pregnant deer gave birth to that young one. And in the water, it was washed away. The mother was washed away. He went and saved the young one. It is a natural dharma for anyone, particularly for a rishi, to protect it, which is fine. But what happened was, he developed extreme attachment towards the deer, the young one. That young one grew up to a deer and it went into the forest, but he was not able to leave that thought or attachment. And the story is that he died with the last thought of the deer only. So he was born as a deer in the next Janma. But because of all the tapas and everything that he has done before, it was not a normal deer. It was maybe in some ashram or something. But afterwards, in the next Janma, he becomes Bharata Yogeshwara, Bharata Rishabha, and he is a Jnani. So all your efforts will culminate there, but you have to go through another Janma of a deer because your mind got caught up in the attachment of the deer. So if you analyze this episode in the relative strength of where the mind will get attached, whether it will get attached to what you like, or whether it will get attached to what it has been beaten through by the process of yoga, by the strong will of yours. Finally, where you like and where you love, where your attachment is, there seems to be a natural affection or natural drawing towards that area. But despite that, we have seen great stalwarts like Bhishma, Sarabanga, they were all yogis and they were able to do it. That's why I'm saying, if you take the statistic, there will be very less people who have achieved the highest through this path. So what it is said, if you are able to convert this attachment into a fixation, the attachment, because everybody has love, everybody has emotion, everybody has attachment towards something or the other. Why not convert that fixation into something higher? It could be the highest in the form of a Krishna or anything that you. So when the attachment is there naturally, whatever you try, it will not go. So the gopis who were not literate in the sense of the term that we understand, all the activities of the world, all the things and beings of the world which is supposed to distract you away from spirituality, be it household duties, be it a tree or a cow or a peacock or anything. All those things were only encouraging them or reminding them about the divinity. It is because of they are jnanis. Actually, they are actually jnanis. They had gained that fixation through love. So, gaining that fixation is possible through yoga also. Gaining that fixation is possible through love also. At the stage that we are, and they are talking about Kali Yuga and the scope of our mind and the way in which it operates, it is better to go along the path which is easy for us, where the tendency of the mind is to get attached, but with knowledge, you are able to get it attached to higher. Because attachment is a natural flow of the mind. If you are able to do that, that will be easier. I am not saying in the context of Vishwamitra, and Vishwamitra, which yuga he lived, and what is the power of people at that point of time, because in Krita Yuga, the sadhana prescribed is something different. In Dwapara Yuga, it is different. Kali Yuga, it is different. So we have to do it according to our mental tendencies and our weaknesses at this point of time. So they have given probably a lot of concession for us to practice this. So the idea is to get the mind fixated in something. That's the idea. Yes.
Renunciation. You said the worldly things leaves us and we don't need to leave them.
Correct.
So, is it necessary or is it always the case that the gross things leaves us first and then the subtle things leave? What if something we shouldn't leave at a particular time leaves us before, I don't know, is it?
It won't leave, don't worry. Okay, it won't leave like that. The point is, when you talk about gross or subtle, are you talking about
Mind, body, intellect.
body, mind? Fine. So, it works on that ladder only. See, usually what happens is that the renunciation is, let us look at it from the angle of not detachment, let us look at it from the angle of attachment. So, renunciation, we say that the child doesn't leave the toys leave the child. When the child gets attached to bicycle, or when it gets attached to later higher thing, the lower things drop off. This is the general principle we take. So you cannot take the leg out of the third step unless otherwise your leg is planted on the fourth step. So it is essential to get attached to higher to get detached from the lower. Yet you can do certain practices in terms of how, see, if suppose a person has a Drida Vairagya means extreme Vairagya, that he has the capacity to say no, and it is not, in bits and pieces. That type of person can even try and practice this and reach a higher level, but his fire is very high. His thing is high. It is correct that it is the grosser things that it will leave first, because in the pyramid of our personality also, that which is more selfish is that which is attached to the body, the physical pleasures and other things. So imagine, even as you eat a chocolate and have a pleasure, and you like chocolate, but if you have a child, you still like chocolate, but you will give it to the child and you enjoy that pleasure, isn't it? Always the thumb rule is mind goes for higher pleasure only. It will not leave anything, it will not renounce anything unless otherwise it finds something better. That is the thumb rule. And the better means it is subtler. So if you are able to get emotional joy, till that point, if you don't experience, you will still grab your chocolate only because that's giving you pleasure. But if you have understood what it is to be with a lover, what is emotions, you may even go through some physical pains for that. You will not mind it because you are gaining joy at a higher level. Similarly, when you are fired by certain things at the intellect's level, emotional joys also don't count. Now, then it goes to the self, means all the other things are like candlelight in front of a sunlight. They don't make any difference to us. Now, if you see like that, when it is a pyramidal growth, the quantity may be more in the bottom, but the quality is more at the top, relatively. So, it is not that I have too many attachment to too many objects, and so therefore the physical attachment and physical pleasures are much more in quantity. How will they go? They should go last. It doesn't work like that. The qualitative pleasure of a higher level automatically takes over, and then you don't bother about physical pleasures anymore because your mind has started tasting something subtler, something higher. Similarly, at a higher and higher levels. one point I wanted to say is why this is so. On what basis or on what logic this happens? What is the science behind it? Anybody?
Subtle always controls the gross.
Why? Subtle controls the gross is one thing. That is with reference to control and pervasiveness. But why do we sacrifice the pleasure out of a chocolate for the pleasure that you see in a child's face? I mean, don't say that, no, I'll still eat chocolate, not give my child. Then there's no discussion. It is the general thing that we see. Why?
If something has to go, the gross will go first because the subtle is closer to the self.
That is the point. That any pleasure that you have is actually not the pleasure inherent in itself. It is the reflection of the self. And the reflection of the self is more when the thing is closest to it. Your intellect is the closest to the self. Your mind is next, then your body. So as the renunciation happens, the grosser things you will not be bothered too much. And then the subtler things comes. One proceeds where Ganges meets ocean, strictly observes vows, or is charitable. 100 lives thus bereft of knowledge is no way to liberation by all beliefs. We'll chant verse 18 twice and then we'll take it up in the next class.
सुरमन्दिरतरुमूलनिवासः शय्या भूतलमजिनं वासः सर्वपरिग्रहभोगत्यागः कस्य सुखं न करोति विरागः सुरमन्दिरतरुमूलनिवासः शय्या भूतलमजिनं वासः सर्वपरिग्रहभोगत्यागः कस्य सुखं न करोति विरागः
Dwelling under tree in temple, sleeping on the ground, wearing skin, renouncing all possession and enjoyment, to him will not dispassion bring happiness. Very interesting verse, because last 3 verses seem to give an idea that there is no scope at all. But here he is saying renunciation is possible, very much achievable, and very much that is the path to happiness. That happiness culminates in what he describes in the next verse. But I want you to just think on a point. He is saying dwelling under a tree, sleeping on the ground. This is probably the same description as we saw in the person on the 16th verse also. He was also dwelling under a tree, taking bhiksha in alms, all those things. But completely 2 different personalities. What it is, we will see in the next class.
Poornam Adah, Poornamidam, Poornat Poornamudachyate, Poornasya Poornamadaya Poornamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.